Okay, Reishis Chochma. We're continuing Shar Yira. He is now just enumerating a lot of chazals, bringing down a lot of chazals, quoting a lot of chazals that talk about how you could get so much schar for just the smallest good deed and so much onus for just the smallest misdeed. So when Sif Tesvav, there was a man who grew up in Amoritz and he had charata that he never learned, not Mikra and not Mishnah. Maybe Beis Knesses. One time he was standing in shul. Right, so when he came to kedusha, so this guy in the crowd answered very loudly, Kaddish, Kaddish, Kaddish Hashem Tzvakos. I'm Lamar Sashik Batal Kolech. I asked him why why so loud today. So he told them, Lo Zachiti Lo Mikol I wasn't Zocha not to Torah B'Chsav, not to Torah B'Al Pach Shasha didn't leave Rishus Lag Beis Koli Tazur Nafshi Olai. Now I just have a chance to at least answer and say a pasuk in tefillah, right? Do something to make myself feel better, over the fact that I never learned. Let's say it wasn't 1 year, wasn't 2 years, wasn't 3 years. Just until that person, right, went up from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael. I guess the story happened in Bavel. He made Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael. But soon and he became a centurion. He became like a major military leader, for the Caesar. Minu Rosh Al Kol. They made him the captain overall. He translates it as as all the castles that the king had in Eretz Yisrael, and they gave him like an estate, Ubana Ir, and he built a city. And he dwelled there. It was called Kalnia, and it was him for his children for all till the end of days. So in the bottom, the first saying that what was special about that place, aside the fact that he had like this family town that he built for his family and their descendants, was also exempt from taxes. Okay? So he got all that for just answering Kaddish, 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 Hashem Tzvokos out loud with a lot of kavanah. Okay. Now he's going to constantly switch off examples of someone who did something small right and got tremendous reward. Someone who did something small wrong and got tremendous punishment. So now it's Tesvayin. Masim Kohen Echad. Story of one coin. Sheikhos Bam told Truma he gave his behema Truma. Right? So now, Truma, belongs to the Kohen, right? But you're supposed to eat it in purity. Now, the Kohen can feed it to his wife and children also, right? He can even feed it to his Evet Kanani, but you have to be pure, and, it's still holy food, right? Naflav A, so this Kohen again, he fed it to his animal. So he fed Truma to his animal. Nafal of Eish, Vachla Meno Shloshim Karim Shloshim Begadim, the Arba Vesrim Kadibsha, and then a fire broke out in his ranch. And and 30 karim, I think, is a type of animal. I mean, in Hamar Hebrew it means pillows, but it means some type of animals. Karim, and he lost maybe 30 sheep or something like that. And 30 clothes and 24 barrels of wine or jugs of wine. Veshisha Sar Kadim Shashemen, and 16 jugs of oil. Sharjah and all his other money. So he had like a huge fire that caused him a tremendous loss of his money, and a lot of property. So he told the Chachamim, Koinani, v'chaltis b'emti truma. Look, I'm a Kohen, and truma belongs to me. So I fed it to my animal. One was the Chachamim heard, and they told him, Baruch HaMakom Shein Lefanov Masupayim, blessed be Hashem, that Hashem does not look the other way ever. V'chitrum Akar Shein Lohem Ochlin, Klum Ochim El L'Sreifa. Right, right. right? If truma and kodesh, the coin also gets other you know benefits, right? So if truma and kachim have people, don't have people to eat them, right? What are you supposed to do? You don't give it to your animal, you burn it. That's how you dispose of something that's holy. Of course, that refers strictly to mitzvah objects. They get burnt, divrei Torah that need geniza, need to be buried, right? So, so if let's say your truma became tame, you don't give it to your animal, you burn it. Right, so he countered the rabbis and said, no, but isn't it for Mishnah, right? That your seeds of truma you could give them to your behema and chaya and your chickens. No, that's seeds that are meant. The only thing that they're good for really is for animal food, right? And it's only during years of famine that people will eat the karshinim also, but it's in essence animal food, right? Lefikach Gazal and David, and that's why David and Melech, was gozer on them, meaning it seems that even karshine truma, only truma midrabanan, because it's not really edible for human beings, right? So it's right, right, yeah. So right, so it seems that that the halacha is that vegetation that's not edible is not chayiv in truma at all, not edible to human beings. Karshinim, people will eat it when they're mamish hungry. So that's why Damach was geyser on them, right? You have to give truma from your karshinim, right? And so that truma could be given, to the kohen could give the truma that he receives of karshinim to his animals because it really is animal food and it's only truma midrabanan. Why was David Melch gozer? Because people would eat karshinim in a, if there's starvation, if there's a famine. So therefore, because they would eat it if there's a famine, it's truma midrabanan, right? But it's not really truma at all. It's animal food, right? It's truma midrabanan. So the rabbanan said since it's some animal food, darmachus goes there, so you have to take truma from karshinim, right? So a kohen could give that karshinim to his animal because it's animal food, but really shouldn't be truma in the first place because it's only animal food, and that's what you're allowed to feed your animal, not real truma that is human food. From which truma was taken. Right? So from here they said, from this story, anyone who feeds his animal truma, that means even trumas chutzarts, like in Syria, right? We take trumas and maisers because it's Eretz Yisrael midrabanan, right? Areas of Syria, which Darmel conquered. So we take off Trumas and Maestros there also, but it's all midrabanan. Bismanazeh would be, I guess, all kula chada gzeri, but you would think it's a trade derabanan because even Trumas and Maestros are derabanan. But the point is, even Truma derabanan, anyone who feeds it, to his animals, is boza drachav, anyone who denigrates Hashem's ways should die, or the pasuk itself is because those chalazot do not defile the kachim b'nei Yisrael, and you will not die. Okay, so look at this. This man, he gave truma to his animals, and look at what happened to him. All right, so okay, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, Yud Zayin. Right? We see that Avram was always God-fearing. He reached a very high level of fear of God by the Akedah, but Avram was always, God-fearing. How do we know? It's because we find Parshlecha Al Tir Avram, while he was still called Avram. He had just gotten back from the campaign to liberate Lot. And Hashem says, do not worry, Avram. Hashem would not tell a man, don't fear, unless that guy has genuine fear of heaven. Right? Mashal, Lama Davadama. So, they gave a mashal to explain this. What is this similar to? Right? A king gave his son, I guess his son was a great warrior, he gave him a directive: go kill these robbers that are, harassing the travelers. Kill these robbers, and if you conquer them, don't have any pleasure from their money. So people shouldn't say, look, I was right? That people shouldn't say the reason why I sent you to kill them is to take their money from them. I don't want people to say that. I want people to know you killed these robbers, lishma, for the sake of ridding the world of evildoers, right? So don't let there be a misconception about that and think that you did it to rob them of the money that they had robbed from others. No. Just kill them and do not enjoy their moment, their money. Yotzavar goes on, because of Yotzav Kraswalo Bini, Borachata, Telcha Koras Ruach, Shalonesa be Monam Klum. Right? So when the son came back from the mission, he had killed them and killed the robbers. Went back, and his father greets him, as he comes back and said, my son, you are so blessed, and you should be so proud of yourself. Klum. Because not only did you kill them, but you indeed upheld what I told you. You didn't take any of their money for yourself. So now, because you fulfilled your mission, you didn't take any of their money, I'm going to give you a lot of my money from my treasures. I'm going to give you silver and gold and gems and pearls and any good vessel in the world, right? So this is what Avram Avinu was like. At the time they killed out the 4 kings, that had conquered the 5 kings and had taken Lot captive. So the king of Sodom went out to greet Avram, as you know the story. Give me the people, just you keep the money. Right, and Avinu answered him, idiot, I don't need your money. You think that's why I went to war, to take your money? I don't need not your gold, silver, not your gold, not your good gems, and not your pearls, and not any good vessel you have. I don't need anything of yours. Like Avram said, I won't take for you not from a string and not from a shoelace. Hashem says, I will now protect you. Your reward is very great. So look how Avram Avinu, it seems that the main message over here is that Avram Avinu just turned down taking, any type of reward from Melech Sodom, and Hashem comes in this vision and promises him to have a son, and all will be good. I see that was the main part. So one thing of just turning down, taking wealth from Sodom, Hashem comes back and repays him 100-fold of what he could have ever gotten if he would have taken from Sodom. And then Chazal go on and say like this: Yitzchak Avinu also. It seems to be the same medrash that all the others were Yorei Shemaim from the get-go. They may have shtite and increased the Yerei Shemaim, but they were all Yerei Shemaim from the get-go. All right, so we see for Yitzchak, he was also God-fearing from the beginning. Ben Chamishim, Yitzchak was 75 years old when Avram Avinu died. That makes sense. Avram Avinu begat him at the age of 100, and Avram Avinu died at the age of 175. So Yitzchak Avinu was 75 when Avram Avinu died. Yitzchak was 75. Amar li Shema ein bi matzon kamo shayu ba'abo mata milfnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? He was worried, and he said, maybe I don't have good deeds like Avram Avinu did. Like maybe I'm just not a good continuation of my father Avram. He was a great man, a big tzaddik, and maybe I'm not worthy to I can't come close to what he was. What's going to be? What's going to be with me? What will Hashem think of me? Hashem had mercy on Yitzchak Avinu and gave him a prophecy that very same night. It was after the death of Ram. Hashem blessed Yitzchak. He appeared to him the very same night after Avinu had died, to show that he has nothing to fear. Hashem will surely. Hashem finds him to be a tzaddik also. Chazal go on. Lamanu mi Yaakov shetzchas vatzayar shemayim shemar vaynu el Yaakov es kol neichar. We see that Yaakov Avinu was always a God-fearing person. Now I'm not sure how this Chazal connects with this. This comes with pasuk that it says in the Parshas Vayishlach when he went back up to Beit El to fulfill his vow to bring sacrifices there, so it says all the foreign gods, his kids surrendered to him. So I'm not sure how this shows that he was already Rishon from the get-go. So now also Am Yisrael saw the great hand. But Vayar is also Miloshin Yira. They were fear Hashem and feared his great hand. And we see from this that in the in all the common denominator of all these cases is that in the merit of having Yiras Hashem and Emunah in Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu ultimately redeems, and He will yet redeem us. Be'ezrat Hashem b'mheira. Okay, so now we have another Zayar. Ubin Yiras Ba'achet Bia Rashbi Lavashalom. So regarding Yiras Chet, just being afraid of doing the wrong thing. So Rav Shimon Bar Yochai explains in the Zohar Reishis. Zelashono, as is what it says. Amai Ikra Yiras Hashem. Why is it called fear of Hashem? Begin the Ihi Ilona the Tov Vara Zochi Barnash HaTov Vilo Zochi Hora. Right? There's the tree of good and evil, that runs the world. We are the world order of the Eitzadas Tovara. If a person merits, good, and if not, bad. Excuse me, please. Dov Yehuda, where are you going? Dov Yehuda? Sorry, it's crack of dawn where I am right now. Just curious where my son went. Right, so if a person merits, good. Let's just, sorry, I got distracted from the fact that my son went out. There's a tree of good and evil, that, runs the world, because Adam ate from the tree and it became the world order. That we live in a world of where there's good and evil. It's a constant strife between good and evil. So if a person is merit, good, vilo zachil ra. Valdoshay Bahai Asar Yira Do Tartalola Go Tuva the Alma Koshona. Right? So now so now on this place, dwells Yira. Yira is the gateway to access all the good. So universe is set up in a cosmic battle between good and evil, and you want to be good and access the good that there is, right? The gateway to the good is Yiras Hashem, right? And he's going to now he's going to unpack this Zohar, the Reishis Chochma, right? All right, so first of all, you're unpacking the very first line. So why Yiras Hashem is called Yiras Hashem? What's the question? What was the Zohar really asking? Right? What is the reality of Yira regarding Hashem? So it wasn't, so first of all, what is Yiras Hashem in general? Was what it's, but also why Yiras Yud K Vav K, Yiras Havaya, let it be Yiras Elokim. The tears beginning of Tavara. right? And the answer was, well, there's the Eitz Hadas Tovara. Right, so it's a little bit of a cryptic Zohar. The question was cryptic, and the answer even more so. Bir Morel Sham Befirish Hasaba. So now my Rebbe, the Ramak, the Moshe Cordovero, right? We may not, we don't even have this, I think, in the regular Or Yakar. That's from the Ramak and the Zohar, right? So my Rebbe explained, in the Pirsha Saba, I think the Saba is the Zohar and Mishpatim, I do believe. There are actually a few pieces of Zohar called Saba because it was set over by an old man. So I'll explain the Zohar based on what my Rebbe said, in the Pirush Saba, which over there, according to the person who puts out, we don't even have this. It's in manuscript. It's not in the regular Or Yakar, right? The Orachama of the Chida's grandfather also quotes this. Shema Chesed V'Adin Vot Shetachtea Tov V'Ra Uberot Korim Eitz Hadas Tov Damatat V'Ra Dos Samach Mem. Right, it's called Eitz Hadas Tov V'Ra. It's like what we said. It refers to a whole world order. Like a tree has roots and it branches out. So like the roots of the tree, so it's like what we'll be saying often in the month of Shvat. When we talk about Tu B'Shvat, Rosh Hashanah Elon, right? So like, the tree of Eitz Hadas Tovara, as opposed to Eitz HaChaim, so its roots suck from the good, from the depth of the good and the depth of the evil. And then it branches out to be good side, bad side. So first, good angel, the Malch Matat, that's called Sarah Olam. That's Eitz Hadas Tov, and then there's Vara, that's the Samach Men, the archangel of evil, the Sarah of Edom, right? And under them, further down, branch out further to all the good and bad events. And the Pasuk says, behold, I gave you before you today, life and good, death and bad. That's Parshat Nitzon. So life hooks up with the good, death hooks up with the bad. So now it further extends down to the human being, and this is what gives human being free will. He has to choose. Like the Pasuk says, he has to choose life. And he should not choose the other way. Right? So your free will all is that the result, the choices you have to choose between good and evil, between life and death is, those events you have to choose between and the struggle inside of you, it's all branches from the good angel versus the bad angel, which ultimately are branched out from sucking from the depth of good and the depth of evil, right? Now, if a person clings to the good, a person chooses good and clings to good, he taps all the way to the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is the Eitz HaChaim, which is the side of kindness and mercy. Good is Yud Kei Vav Kei to all, and his mercies on all his creations. So the side of good leads all the way back to the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yud Kei Vav Kei Tov is also, if you add, we have the concept of mispar cotton, of adding up the numerical value of a word, but without the zeros. So Yud, which is 10, is 1. Drop the 0. So 1 plus 5 plus 6 plus 5. So that's right. That's 17, right? And that's gematria tov, right? So Yud Kei Vav Kei Mispar, just drop the 0 from the 10, from the Yud. You drop. That's what Mispar is. You add up the numerals of the word itself without the zeros, right? So Mispar Yud Kei Vav Kei is tov. Mispar but if you're not zocha, you cling to the evil. Shiamavs, which is death. And of course, the evil. Even though in this world, from our perspective, it looks like they're equally existent, but they're not really the same. The tov is besod the pri, and the Ra is besode the klippas, the peels. They're on the outside, they're not at the core. And also, another is that they're destined to be thrown away. So this is all very apropos for Tu B'Shvat that's coming, rapidly approaching. So, from the perspective of Eitz Hadaas, it looks like they're equal. But, in if you could see reality as truly is, they're not equal. The Tov is the pre, right? And therefore it's real, and it's eternal, and it's at the center. And the Ra, even though it looks like it's just on the left side, but it's not really on the left side. It's really on the outside. It's called chitzonim. It's called klipas, peels. That ultimately it's going to be removed and totally chucked out. Right. So now with this yesod that I brought from the Ramak, says the Reishis Chochma. Now we can explain. We can answer all the the inferences that we raise. Seemingly, you fear. You should have fear of being wrong, right? You should fear the bad. You should fear the bad. You don't want to cling to it, because if you cling to the, if you choose evil and you cling to the klippas in your lifetime, after you die, it's where your nefesh goes, to the klippas, which one day we're all going to be removed from reality. And if your nefesh stays there with them, it'll be removed from reality with them. And right? As the pasuk says, you get paid what you do, for what you do. Mida keneged mida. You don't want to cause this mida to cling to the evil God. Because we're going to explain, right? We as we're going to explain, you don't want the power of Yira to go there. Right? Says, yeah, you're right. You should be afraid of doing wrong, but Yira per se, that power, that midah, it should be associated with God. You don't want to give any power to the Sitra Achra, as we're going to explain later in this sefer, and it's also very much it brought down the sefer of his Rebbe, the Ramak. You want to be good, and if you're bad, then the powers of your personality, those midas that you're misusing, you're putting those midas into the chitzarim, and now they're going to empower and juice up the other side. God's shalom, right? So you should have the midah of yira, and there's power there. There's power, and it should be associated with Yud Kei Vav Kei. Eden, where I saw or Vayar Elokim as or Kitov. Right? So now if you have the midah of Yira, so you cling, right? You cling to the goodness. So like Yira is not just be afraid of doing bad. No, Yira is a real force. It's a real power. And it's the power to cling to God. That with Yiras Havaya, you cling to Havaya. Right? Through Yira of being afraid of doing the wrong thing, but Yira also is a positive. It's an energy to cling to Yud Kei, to cling to all goodness. Because after all, the name Yud Kei Vav Kei is the ultimate source of goodness. Elokim and the other divine names have elements of judgment that facilitate punishment or facilitate even programming to make evil possible in the first place. Right? Yud Kei Vav Kei is pure Tov. Right? It's the midah of pure Rachmanas, pure Chesed, no dinim. And Yira is the koch to be dabek in it. Right? So you don't want Yira just to not do wrong. You want Yira to give you the power of Dveikus. So it has to be Yiras Hashem, right? Fear of God, to cling to God, and that way you cling to Yud Kei Vav Kei and all the good in the world. So the Ba'amro, this is what it's very inferred when it says, this is the gate to go into all good in the world. And now this, this goodness we're talking about, it's not just, earthly goodness, not the goodness that coexists with evil. It's like the higher goodness where evil doesn't exist at all. And that's also the oneg that the Sefer Tzir refers to. Ein lamala me oneg. There's nothing higher than oneg. That's the pleasure. That's the pure good with no evil coexists with it on that level. And that's what you get through Yiras Yud Kei Vav Kei. You cling to absolute goodness, right? And when you leave this world, that's where your soul will go. Maybe that's Tov, Kol Tov, Shimatzah, and also Mida Tov also is a general category for how using every Mida correctly for the good purpose. Right? Yud Kei Vav Kei, and that's Yud Kei Vav, close Esmidas, Bar Yashar, as we know, Yud Kei Vav Kei encompasses all the good Midas. All the good Midas are, generally speaking, in details, the details are infinite, but in general speaking, all our good Midas are carved out of the Esther Spheres. And the Esther Spheres, as they are from or Yashar, or Yashar means top down. The Esther spheres, as they are top down, is the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. Kutso Shayud, the spitz of the Yud is Keser. The Yud itself is Chochma, and the Hey is Bina, right? And the Vav are the Vav Ktavos, the six edges. Chesed, Gvor, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, right? And the final Hey is Malchus, right? And all midas are carved out, and then we have all those good midas in us. That's what makes us Tzalma Kim. So with Yira, you cling. Tov refers to using all the midas for the good, and when you use all the midas for the good, you're beside you're a walking merkava, walking chariot for the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is ultimately Chesed v'Rachamim, as explained in Tikkunim. And we're going to go even deeper in this in next session. Okay, stop here.